Take a moment and think about your life in weeks. Not years. Not days. Weeks. If you live to around 80 years old, your entire life is about 4,000 weeks. That is the number. 4,000. It fits on a single line. When most people hear this number for the first time, they pause. It sounds surprising. Almost too small. But here's the question almost nobody asks. What if that surprise is not something to brush aside? What if it is an invitation? Most people hear the number 4,000 and quickly move on with their day. It feels distant, almost unreal. But the people who sit with that number, who let it change something in how they see today, those people live differently. Not with worry. With purpose. Welcome back to Gentle Wisdom, where you learn English while becoming a better version of yourself. One story, one step at a time. Today we explore one of the most surprising ideas about time. An idea that sounds unsettling at first, but holds something quiet and hopeful inside. By the end of this video, you will see your limited time not as a reason to worry, but as a reason to live with meaning. Let's begin. Lesson 1: The number that changes everything. 4,000 weeks. This idea comes from a book called 4,000 Weeks by Oliver Burkeman. Published in 2021, it became a bestseller in more than 30 countries. Burkeman wanted to show something simple but powerful. Our time is short. Much shorter than we like to imagine. We usually think of life in decades. Long stretches that seem to go on forever. But when you count in weeks, everything feels different. Suddenly, life feels small. Countable. Real. Most people live as if they have unlimited time. They wait. They delay. They tell themselves there will always be a someday. Someday I will learn English. Someday I will start. Someday I will change. But someday is not a real day. And the weeks keep passing whether we use them or not. Here is a simple way to feel this. Think about one thing you have been putting off for a long time. How many weeks have already passed since you first thought of it? Weeks are short. But they add up quickly. Burkeman discovered something interesting when he started counting his own weeks. He realized that by the time he was 40, he had already lived more than half of his total weeks on Earth. Not his years. His weeks. Half already gone. This is not meant to frighten you. It is meant to wake you up gently. The way a quiet alarm does, not a loud one. Your time is finite. That is what makes it matter. Lesson 2: The trap of doing everything. Here is where many people go wrong. When they realize time is short, they panic. They try to do more. Faster. All at once. They fill every hour. They chase every goal. They say yes to everything, afraid of missing out. But this creates a strange problem. When you try to do everything, you end up doing nothing well. You are always busy but never satisfied. You are moving fast but going nowhere. Oliver Burkeman calls this a trap. The harder you try to control every minute of your time, the more it slips away from you. You become a person who is always rushing but never arriving. He describes this feeling well. You add more tasks to your list. You finish them. But the list gets longer, not shorter. You wake up earlier. You go to bed later. But somehow there is still not enough time. The problem is not the number of tasks. The problem is the belief that you can do all of them. The truth is simpler. You cannot do everything. No one can. There is not enough time to read every book, visit every place, or learn every skill. And that is not a failure. That is just being human. So what is the answer? It is not to do more. It is to choose. Try this tonight. Take one piece of paper. Write down 3 things that matter most to you right now. Just 3. Then look at your week and ask, am I giving any time to these? Even a little? That small act of choosing is where everything begins. When you accept that you cannot do everything, something surprising happens. You feel lighter. You stop rushing. And you finally have room for what truly counts. Your time is finite. That is what makes it matter. Lesson 3: The gift of a limit. Think about why a limited thing feels precious. A sunset is beautiful partly because it does not last. A song moves us because it ends. If these things went on forever, we would stop noticing them. The same is true for your life. The limit is not the enemy. The limit is what gives everything meaning. Steve Jobs understood this deeply. Jobs was the co-founder of Apple, the company behind the iPhone. He once said that remembering he would die was the most powerful tool he ever found for making big choices in life. When you know your time is short, you stop wasting it on things that do not matter. You start asking the right questions. You do not need to think about death every day to use this idea. You only need to remember one thing. Your weeks are limited. And because they are limited, each one is a gift. A gift is something you receive without earning it. Every week you wake up and have the chance to choose, to learn, to grow. That is a gift. Not everyone gets next week. The people who understand this spend their weeks differently. Think about 2 people who both feel this truth today. Sana is someone who works hard and cares deeply about growing. When she thinks about her 4,000 weeks, it feels overwhelming to sit with. So she freezes. She scrolls her phone to avoid the feeling. She waits for the perfect moment to begin. Theo feels the same weight. But instead of freezing, he lets it wake him up. He asks himself a simple question. What matters most to me right now? Then he spends a little time on it today. Not perfectly. Just honestly. 1 year later, Sana is still waiting for the perfect moment. She still has the same dream. But the weeks have passed. Theo has grown 1 small week at a time. Not because he was braver. Not because he had more time. Because he chose to start, even when the moment did not feel perfect. Same 4,000 weeks. Same initial reaction. A completely different response. Lesson 4: What this means for you. Right now, you are spending part of one of your 4,000 weeks watching this video. Learning English. Growing quietly. That is not a small thing. That is you, choosing to use your limited time to become someone new. Most people spend their weeks without thinking about them. They move from Monday to Friday, from this month to the next, without ever asking the most important question. What do I want these weeks to add up to? You are asking that question. Not with words, maybe, but with your actions. By choosing to be here. By choosing to grow. That is the difference between someone who watches the weeks pass and someone who uses them. As James Clear writes in Atomic Habits, a book that has sold over 15 million copies worldwide, every action you take is a vote for the person you want to become. Every week you choose to grow is a vote. Every small habit is a vote. Not for someday. For right now. You do not need to change your whole life today. You do not need a perfect plan. You only need to remember that your time is real and to spend a little of it on what matters. Learning a language takes time. There are no shortcuts. But you can give it 15 minutes today. And tomorrow. And the day after. Small pieces of your limited time, adding up to something real. Think about what 15 minutes a day becomes over 1 year. That is more than 90 hours of learning. Not because you worked harder. Because you chose to start. And kept going. That is the power of your limited time used wisely. Not someday. Today. Every week you choose to grow is a week well spent. Every small habit is a vote for the life you want. Every honest choice makes your time matter more. So imagine the person you want to become. Not someday. Not in a perfect future. But through the small choices you make in the weeks you actually have. Hold that image. Then spend a little of today on it. You have more power over your weeks than you think. Not because you can control everything, but because you can choose one small thing. And then another. Week after week. That is how the 4,000 weeks become a life you are proud of. Not all at once. One honest choice at a time. Your time is finite. That is what makes it matter. You are becoming. Something has shifted in you today. The person who finishes this video is not quite the same as the one who started it. That shift is real. And it is yours to keep. If you enjoyed today's story, please like and subscribe. A new story arrives every day. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments too. Every choice shapes your life. Small habits, big results. And keep becoming. Study Corner, today's English notes. Welcome to the Study Corner. Let's review 3 useful words from today's story. The first word is finite. In the story we heard, your time is finite. Finite means having a limit. Something that will end, not last forever. For example, our time is finite, so we choose what matters most. The next word is precious. In the story we heard, a limited thing feels precious. Precious means very valuable and important. Something you do not want to waste. For example, every week is precious. Use it with care. The third word is delay. In the story we heard, they wait. They delay. To delay means to put something off until later instead of doing it now. For example, do not delay the things that matter most to you. What was the most useful thing you learned today? Or is there anything you want to know more about? Share your thoughts in the comments. Small steps. Every day. You are doing well. See you tomorrow.